through kind of just met through events, right? I feel like, well, first Diamond Retreat?
That or Summit?
Maybe
yeah, Summit. But I feel like Summit was such a blur, and like y'all were there, but we were like overwhelmed because it was just so many people. But I think like the first time we actually like talked and stuff was at Sister Empire's retreat.
Yeah, which is another reason why I feel like so important to go to those events, because then it's like, oh, hey, Amy, can you know, it's like you get to know people, and it's not like, hi, I've never met you before, but I was going to ask you to speak on my call. You know, it's like, I feel like there's some kind of relationship there, which is nice.
Right. So even without like Kate's coach, Jessica, I talk to her all the time on Instagram, and we're like, oh my God, like we've never met before, but I feel like I've met her. So it's funny.
And then you go to those events and you're like giving people hugs that you've never met. Yeah. You're my BFF.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, thank you so much for getting on. I wanted Amy to talk really on, I know she's busy. What do you do? What is your job? So you can kind of just share a little bit about what you do. Okay.
I need to talk about that more on social media. I talk about this all the time and I forget because, you know, I am a full-time speech therapist. I've been doing that for you. Want me to just get started and go for it?
Yeah, go.
Okay, and if you have more to say. Okay, my name's Amy, like she said. I am a full-time speech therapist. I started that almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in July, which is crazy. And then I actually got started with Beachbody because of that as well. I had just gotten out of grad school. I was going to the gym and all those things, but after, I also have a 2-hour commute. So 1 hour there, 1 hour back, depending on traffic, sometimes longer, sometimes less. But I just could not find the time to go to the gym, and I felt like I wasn't getting results anyway. So I quit going, and then I was just not in a happy place. So I was watching my coach Crystal. I was going to go buy things online because I would never reach out to her, but she reached out to me and I was like, okay. And I was the girl that let her cart sit there for a while because I was scared to get started. When I got my stuff in, it sat there. Connor's like, Amy, you know, you might want to, and that's back when challenge packs were like $220, like not anything like it is now. And so, but once I got started, I loved it, and I just shocked myself at how good I felt. And I actually texted my coach Crystal, also a little bit about me. Super shy. I'm way more outgoing now. Some people are like, really? I'm like, absolutely. I'm not too nervous right now, I think, because I know you, but like I am so shy and introverted. So coaching was never something that I would have ever imagined doing. But I felt really good 3 weeks into 80-day obsession. And I sent my progress pictures to my coach, and I was like, oh my God, I just want to show everybody, like, I feel so proud. Like, I forget what I said, but she was like, well, why don't you do that? And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, I'll post them, because I just was like giddy proud of myself. And I actually felt good. Like I had been going to the gym and like not seeing results because I just didn't know what I was doing. So I posted them, and I did that without intentions of working the business. Even after people reached out to me, Sister Empire was actually having a flash sale. I don't know how long everybody's been coaching, but 2 times a year, I think we have a flash sale. And she was like, we're having a flash sale. Like if people reach out, like you could, you know, get them set up. And I was like, okay, awesome. Still not realizing what I was doing. And I tried to go back to that even now, 3 years in, because I did it so blindly and with excitement and just like nothing attached to the outcome, just telling people what I was doing and why I was doing it and how good I felt and that they should do it too, that I like signed up 3 or 4 people like that. And I know that that doesn't happen for everyone, but I think if I would have known like, okay, you need to sign up 2 people or you need to sign up 4 people, I probably would have frozen and been like, I don't know what to say to them. So that's my biggest tip to anyone starting out, or even years into the business. I have to check myself sometimes and say like, quit overthinking what you're saying. Like all you're saying is what you're doing and that it's making you feel good. And that's, other people want to feel good too. So that's kind of where I started. Even after I signed a few people.
I feel like too, you know, it's like that almost like naiveness of just excitement. I feel like that's contagious. And it's like, even if you don't have like the best of the best results, but you are so pumped and like that energy, like people can feel that. It's like, wait, okay, wait, Amy, like she hasn't ever posted something like this before. And now she's like all in, super excited. She has amazing results. Like I want that feeling, you know?
Exactly. And I think too, because I am shy and like introvert, I mean, extroverted people do this too, but like, they were like, oh my gosh, like, you know, because they know that I was shy. And yeah, you're right. Just like that naive, like just excitement is contagious for sure. And I say that too to my coaches because I had to start doing this. I'm gonna say more about my story because it didn't always stay that way. I've gone through ups and downs and just some deep thoughts, kind of how we all do in the business. Like I said, I don't know how long all of y'all been coaching, but I had to start thinking and acting like 50 people a day are knocking down my door to get into my groups, even if they're not, because no one knows the difference except for you. So if you show up with that energy, like, why wouldn't you want to do this with me? Look at all these people that, like, you know, just acting like you have the best thing ever. That energy is contagious. And anytime that I feel, I did it today in my stories, I was doing it quickly because I was in a rush. And that's another reason why I sometimes talk on my stories is like, I have to get the message out quick because I have to show up. But I thought to myself, okay, I've been putting like motivational stuff. I need to show some excitement because I'm doing 9-week control freak again. And I was like, what worked? Because I was super successful with that program. It was my excitement. I was like, oh my God, 30 minutes a day. Like my girls are loving it. They still are loving it. So I shared that today. And so I always go back to that, like, look, everyone, we're all doing it. Like, what are you waiting on? And that's the energy that I have to bring. And it doesn't always just happen easily, but you have to have that checks and balances. Like, okay, get yourself in your happy place. Like, I'll tell you, personal development does that to me, and listening to anything with a Lizzo, like Juice by Lizzo. Usually I put that on if I need like a little pump up, and then I'm good. I just listened to it before this call. I was already pumped up, but just needed a little extra. And what I think is cool about this business, and you hear this in several different ways, but I like to say it is, this is the only job I really know of that's like, please be selfish. Corporate is begging us, we're begging you to be selfish and take care of you all the way. Body, mind, soul, whatever. You need to be the best version of you, and then you work the business. And I like think about that sometimes, like how insane, because I have a good boss. I have a good, you know, work environment. I won't lie. I mean, you know, your normal stuff, but I really am lucky. But it is because I'm a hustler at work and I get my things done because like I'm ready to get out. But nobody there is telling me like, take care of yourself, Amy. No, it's like, oh, can you take a 16th patient? Okay, cool. And I am maxed out at work right now, paperwork and everything. And that's why I love Beachbody so much, because it's something for me. So when and I'll talk about my busyness later, but you need to think of it as that as well. Your job is your journey, and you are number one. Okay, get back onto my coaching journey. I hit Diamond, I think it was 4 months. I think it took me 4 months. I'm not sure. Had no idea what I was doing. Crystal didn't really know what she was doing either, because we had all just started. Tori had really just started that time. So we were all just like excited, like not knowing what was going on, which was great. And then I did work myself to 1-star a few months later. And then I sat there for a year and a half-ish. I'll have to look at the dates, but, and I started at that time, other people were coming in, and we do have a really, really successful team. And sometimes it can be overwhelming because you see these people doing these things. And I thought about this earlier, like you hear, if you're a newer coach or an older coach, you hear hit Diamond, hit 2-star, hit 5-star, and these things that feel really heavy. And I try to think of it as like, I want to put those in your back pocket, like know that you need to do it, but don't put the weight of it on your shoulders. And I was definitely putting the weight of it on my shoulders. Like, I have to hit 2-star. Like I have to hit 2-star. Oh my God, why am I not hitting 2-star? And she hit 2-star. And I compare myself to people, but not in a way of like envy, I would say. It's more of a like, wow, she did that. I don't know if I can do that. You know, I kind of like shut down because I've never been athletic. I've never been like the first place person. I've just been content with like chilling, playing it safe. Like, so I kind of like let everybody do the things around me, and I'm like, okay, it's safe. And so, but I did feel the pressure, and I started to question, like, is this for me? Like, do I really want to do this? Like, I'm busy at work. I have a master's degree. You know, I don't have a good transformation, but not a great transformation. I started questioning myself, and it happens sometimes even still. I'm like, what am I doing? You're doing great. You have to keep going. And so, Beachbody doesn't put a limit on your success. Like you could coach for 10 years and finally hit Diamond, and they're going to congratulate you and celebrate you the same as if you hit it in 30 days or 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. So it's up to you. And I'll tell you what I changed whenever I was having that. I didn't think I would quit because I couldn't imagine my life without it, but I wasn't sure like what my goal was. So I really had to think about it. I started to believe in myself, and that didn't happen like that. And that sounds so cheesy, But I did a lot of personal development and really trying to apply it and think and relate it to me. Um, and I have a lot of things that have gone on. Like last year, the running joke was because I went from 1 star and we ended as 7 star in elite, which still blows my mind. And it was a joke that every time I rank advanced, something dramatic or like bad or dramatic happened in my family. And like we had some family stuff going and it was like not funny, but it was funny. It was like, okay, Crystal, like I'm coming up on a rank advancement, like let me brace myself. And it was sure enough, like it was almost like things would happen. And it was like, showed me how tough I was because I also worked my business and my priorities got in line. And I don't recommend having things happen and go on, but you can do tough things, you can do hard things, and you can show up when you feel like you can't show up. And sometimes that's when you show up your best because you don't again, I didn't have time to overthink it. I needed to deal with family stuff. I needed to deal with work. And then I had this goal and I had this dream and the only choice I had was to take action. And so I also started, instead of just thinking, like I said, I was putting those ranks on my shoulder, thinking like, wow, I'm not hitting that, like I'm not succeeding, all these things. And I need to go back and see what it was from. It was either from the book, Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy Neustadt. I don't know if you ever read that one, Tiffany. Or it may have been a Brene Brown book. But anyway, they talked about a success log. And I started saying, okay, I'm not successful. I crushed that because it's not true. I think so. Success is very subjective, meaning it can be whatever you want it to be. And it's up to you to celebrate your own success. We can't be on a flyer for everything. We can't be like Beachbody is not going to congratulate us for everything. So it's up to us to celebrate it within your team and with yourself. No one knew that I was writing down that I had a $14 cycle bonus and then that pretty much paid my coach fee, or that a girl told me she had more energy because she worked out 3 days a week. But I was writing those things down and I was putting that on my shoulders instead of the ranks, because that's what success is in this business. Every little building block is success. If you have one $14 cycle bonus, you've covered your business service fee. If you get 2 in a month, you've doubled your what do you call it? Your investment into your business. Can you buy your kid's birthday cake? I know those can be expensive sometimes. Like, I forgot who mentioned that one time and it brought tears. It was Mary Day. She mentioned that one time, if a cake can cost $50, but your coaching business can pay for that. Beachbody is giving us a lot of financial cushion in a way that like I wasn't paying attention to those things. So I did actually start writing down my checks. I knew them. I told my husband
that you can even say like, I doubled my income this week. Nobody has to know that it went from $14 to $30. Like,
not at all.
Doubling your income is attractive. You don't have to say it went from 1,000 to 2,000. It could go from 14 to 30. That's still doubling the income that you made last month. And one thing that my mentor told me to do is to start tracking that and see like when you're putting in the work, you're seeing the growth. And sometimes we don't like realize those like little building blocks until you write it down. And then I feel like when you start to see that kind of stuff, then it's like celebrating those milestones.
Yeah. I started writing it. This is just, everybody, I guess, has a planner or something, but we had like a little gift exchange and Sam got me this Ray Dunn planner and I started writing my checks down and like you see just that little increase, but it's like, I knew it, but when I started putting pen to paper and then now I can look back at it and be like, oh my gosh, like I thought about my income from May compared to last May. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like how did that even happen? Because it was more than double. I forget the exact amount, but like if I hadn't been paying attention to it back in May, because this is around the time that I started changing things. And I mean, in the sense of like internally, because we can sit here and give you all the tips you want all day long. And even us, Tiffany, like been in it a little while, like we can get all the tips and trainings we want, but until you believe that you can do those things that you're being told, it is harder. I mean, it's not impossible, but it is harder. So just paying attention to those small wins. And then I try to help my team start celebrating that too when I did have girls working, because it was just me for a long time. I had one girl who she still kind of dabbles a little bit, and it's just not her goal to make it a full-time thing. And that is totally fine. She's a huge support system for me, and she's helped me a lot with, I'll talk about my morning routine in a second, but when I did have people wanting to work the business, I try to teach them to celebrate every win. Like whenever they have a conversation, like, oh my God, I'm talking to someone. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Like they're interested, or when they sell a challenge pack, or even your challengers, because my coaches have come from challengers. I only had one girl ever come to me and say she wanted to work the business, and she had actually done Beachbody programs in the past, just not with a team. And so that place is gold. So my challenger saying they did day one, like I am pumping that up because I've learned how important celebrating the smallest wins are for me. And so that's my people are like, what did you do differently? Like, that's it. And I started tracking.
When it's like a flip of a switch, it's like, you always hear when you decide, and you're like, well, is it really like that? And then when you start to take action, you start to like step up your game, like you were saying internally, then it's like, oh, it is like that actually.
It is. Yeah. It's like, oh, they were right. Yeah. And there's been several people who have said it different ways. Like it's so much easier for us to look what's going wrong instead of what we've done right. And so it was just kind of that switch flip. And like I said, I had a lot of stuff going on last year. I don't recommend like having all these things go on, but I really had to get very intentional about like protecting Amy and my mindset, and like where are my priorities, what's bringing me joy. And like if your dream and your goals for this business are true, like find the way. I promise it delivers. Like it's something that gives back. Like I told you, this is the only job I know of that anyone's ever been told, like, please be as selfish as possible. Be your best self for you and everyone around you. And so I do want to talk about being busy, because I feel like this is where I was like, again, this is from personal development. I think Keisha said it. We wear busy as a badge of honor. And I'm so guilty of it too. How have you been? Like, oh, busy. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean? We're always going to be busy because we choose to be busy. Like, what are you doing? Where is your time going? And so that kind of stuck with me one time. I was like, ooh, that's true. It's just kind of a blanket statement that we can put. And a lot of times it is true. Like this week, I'm busy. Like, when we were planning Diamond Retreat, I'm busy. People who have kids, you're busy. Like I don't have kids. And someone actually told me the other day that it's easier for me to work out and work this business because I don't have children. And I was like, hold up. Then I thought about, I am the only 5-star elite coach in Sister Empire without children. And most of them have what? 3, 4 kids, like Kate and Deidre have 3 kids, like Clara, like I'm just like, no, that is not true. Which again, I was just like, okay, it's fine. Like you think that, but like not true. Like I have all these moms to prove you wrong. But I guess I do have more time. But again, I still use busy as a statement to kind of get me off the hook for some stuff.
Busy. It's just a different.
Yeah, it's different kind of busy. We are always on the go because I don't have my own kids. I'm always going to see my niece and nephew. They live 2 hours away. Work is busy. So yeah. But we use busy as a badge of honor, and you just show up through the messy. I tell people like, this is what's been going on when I'm voice memoing people. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is what I have going on. Cause that's real and that's relatable. And, Leanne talked to my team last night and she was like, my girls are always in the background of voice memos cause it's my life. Like, it's just, and that's relatable. And that's what, I don't want to cookie cutter perfect. It's not reality, Okay. One thing I did change, and I do work in pockets of time. So Tiffany kind of asked me to talk about, what my day looks like. When you ask if I take days off, I'm like, I don't technically, but I don't work 24/7 and burn myself out. I'm very careful about that because I love this so much and I've proven to myself how much I am capable of. I do feel like I work every day, but it's not always work. My brain is, I've trained my brain to be like, what can I capture? And I think I do it like not intentionally now. Well, I guess it's intentional, but it's not like I'm like, okay, Amy, turn it on. Like, what do you need to capture? Like when Connor's watering the garden, I like snap a picture because everyone wants to know what Connor's growing in his garden, not what workout move I'm doing. I just put them together. So I'll snap a picture. Sometimes I post it, sometimes I don't, but I try to always, to me, that's work. That's work. Snapping pictures is work. Scrolling Pinterest for an inspirational quote is work. So technically no days off. Do I go crazy, typing and making flyers and going live in my group and making meal plans every day? No. Or inviting every single day? No. But there's always something business related in my day in my head, if that makes sense.
I think that's good because that's constantly building your business. Even though you're like sitting down at a computer, pushing out 50 invites, like that's
Right.
not always what work looks like, but it's constantly on your mind. So you're doing those little like mundane tasks so that when you are ready to sit down and really focus, you're not having to spend your hour of time doing that kind of stuff. Like, oh,
It
I know.
feels more natural. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you don't feel like spread thin, like you have to do it all. Yeah, and when so last year, whenever I started kind of like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, I knew there was some adjustments to be made. I did hit 2-star, worked myself to 2-star. I was like so close a lot, and I was like, I will not get myself to 2-star. Got myself a 2-star. It actually felt really good. And Mary Day actually talked to me and she was like, do you see yourself as a leader? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, Amy, like your business is at a tipping point. So you either need to like, she was joking, she was like, you need to decide or like, and I was like, okay. And that was like the biggest, like, I don't know if y'all know who Mary Day is, but I was like, yes, ma'am. Like she was joking. She was being really loose about it, but I was like, she's right. Like, and if she said it, like, it's gotta be true. Like I was thinking it because I was like, okay, I was hitting Success Club. I mean, I had a huge downline. I had this good foundation, but like I didn't have the rank numbers and all the stuff. And that doesn't necessarily matter. You have to find the success. So I told my girl Allie, who's been like I said, she's not into it to make it a career, but she has been there. She was one of my first challengers to sign up, and she was like, Amy, you've got to wake up earlier. And I was like, Allie, I cannot wake up before 5:45. It's just not possible. Like, and here I am. I had a routine. I was waking up. I was getting my coffee. I was showering. I was getting ready for work, going to work, working all day, then coming home and trying to like, oh my God, I have so many things to do, so many messages to answer. So I slowly started waking up earlier. And last year when things started feeling like they were moving and I was just getting very like, literally writing sticky notes in my mirror. I used to never do that. Why not me? Believing that I deserve the success that like I wanted. And as cheesy as that sounds, it is true. Everyone deserves success, but you have to believe that you deserve it. And that's cliche, but it's true. I was jumping out of bed at 4:15 in the morning. Okay. One that was like, I will not wake up before 5:45. That's even pushing it for me. Like I want to find a job closer to home so that I can, not wake up that early. Bouncing out of bed at 4:15, crazy, right? But I was excited about what I was doing. Things were feeling good. It was filling my cup. I felt like I was in control of my day. And I will say now my alarm's set at 4:35 and I do snooze once every now and then, but I have the goals that I'm working towards, but I have more of a like mindset of like, I know it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's when, and it's that consistent action. Like I talked about. But I do need to start getting up a little bit earlier because I could give myself more time. But the other day I accidentally turned my alarm completely off and it was after Diamond Retreat and I was exhausted. And I got out of bed at 5:20 and I felt scrambled all day because it's my time. And what that time looks like is I get up, I put little eye gel things on my eyes to feel great. I get my coffee, I come in my office, and sometimes it's really productive and I'm answering a ton of messages and writing posts and things. And sometimes it's just a devotional, listening to music and like organizing my sticky notes that I had out or something. There's always something that I'm doing to just make me feel in control of my day. But back in that season of hustle, when I really had those goals, it was very intentional. It was setting a timer. I'm going to go and I'm going to like love on people's posts for 5 minutes. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to follow up with 6 people or, whatever it was. Also loving on your group. You cannot forget about your group. And that was something that I feel like I was like looking this way and I had all these people here, and not that I was leaving them behind, but like I had to dive into them a little bit more and use them as my practice to say what I wanted to do. And I literally told my challenge group that I wanted to end the year as elite and that they were part of it. And they were like, what's that? That's exciting. And they got more involved in just like their workouts and stuff. They didn't know what was going on. But you have to have that energy again. What else did I want to say? It was something about my car. Oh, how I found I don't want a job closer to home now because that's my time to do personal development. And I know that people with kids, it's hard in the car, but then again, let them hear the kids scream. I do not recommend at all texting and driving or doing things on your phone while driving. I'm in Baton Rouge traffic a lot. There's time for me to open a message, start a voice message. We talk on the phone anyway, so I will sometimes voice message on my way home. And I used to get really stressed about, oh my God, I have to be in the car for another 45 minutes to an hour today. Like I'm all out of time, but I make the most out of that time in my car. I wanted to make sure I say that too. Okay. Well, how are you on time? Did your thing cut off?
Yeah, no. Bridget asks, what do you do when you love on people's posts on Insta? Do you always comment, or is it just liking their posts?
Sometimes I like it, and then a lot of times I'll try to comment like simple stuff like, oh, that's so cute, or congratulations. It's very easy to do like the congratulations stuff, and I just try to think like like I love when people love on my post. I just try to give something, even if it is just hearts. But I just try to connect with people, especially if it's people that I also do it on stories. A lot of times I'll like scroll through people's stories, and I'm not necessarily always like looking at everything they're doing or saying, but like if it's somebody especially that I've invited before or that I want to invite, I will like put some hearts on their stories. If they're active on social media, I'm loving on whatever they put. But it's just to show them some attention kind of, and then just to kind of, it helps me pop up a little bit.
Yeah, I had Jen Richardson. She's like an older coach, but I always loved the way she did things. But she said that she focused on like 10 people a month to love on, like specific, intentional. And I always like that because I feel like sometimes when you like talk about that, it could be kind of, I don't know, sometimes I get scatterbrained and like, who am I loving on? What am I doing?
Right.
It's like if you focus and not being like weird, like every single thing that goes up, you're like, have a chapter to say. But
Yeah.
just intentional, like I'm going to choose these people that I feel like would either be great at this job or I've invited before, and really like intentionally love on them.
Yeah, Kate said that recently too. I think she was talking about what she does with her new coaches. Like she, and a lot of people have said it, and I need to be more intentional about that too, because you're right. It gives you some focus. Like pick a few people and like focus on them, because your work now, and you hear that a lot too, your work now is a lot of time your success later. Sometimes you invite people and it takes months for them to sign up, and then other times it's just those connections and those relationships being built, and then they come on and it just feels so natural. So those little bitty things like that over time compound to success.
Well, and then it doesn't feel icky. It feels, like you said, it feels natural.
Exactly.
And it doesn't feel pushed, or it's like, yes, you know that you're making connections, but then I feel like always the other side of that is then you build these really good relationships with people. So it's like, yes, there's a purpose. And for a while there, I always thought about that, like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then when I realized like the lives that it was changing and the connections that were being built, I was like, okay, that's not that weird.
No, it's not that weird. Yeah, and it feels more natural. And I find that people that I do that with, it happened just now. A girl that I used to work with 5 years ago, and she's also a speech therapist and just started working. I invited her one time. Her grandpa was sick. We connected on that because my grandpa, he was sick whenever I was doing this and stuff. But she's more open. She's open with me. And she's like, okay, I'm just gonna like be honest with you. I'm scared. Like I'm just scared. I don't know why I'm scared. And I'm like, oh girl, like no big deal. And I think it's because we've been talking for a little while. If we hadn't talked in 6 years and I went to invite her and she said she was interested, like I don't feel like she would have been honest with me. And I can tell the difference when I've built like a good relationship with people or connection, because I do find that they're just more open and honest with me straight out of the gates, which helps me to help them. One more thing I did want to share is I like, not on purpose, but like refused for a long time to say like I'm running a business, like I'm working on my business. I don't know why. I think it was the pressure again. Like I like put things on my shoulders and like, okay, like I'm just gonna hide here for a second. And that saying that, and like y'all, any exchange, whether you make a penny or whatever, like any exchange of a good and money is a business. Like anything where you're growing and you're developing, it's a business. And I think it just sounded like a lot of pressure to me. But once I started saying that to myself and to my loved ones, especially like close family, even my husband, I owned it. And I took myself more seriously, because I was like, I said that, like I said it. And I have a supportive husband. A lot of people were like, oh, like you're lucky to have Connor. It's not that he wasn't supportive in the beginning. He just didn't understand it. So it was more of a like taking another freaking picture. Like it was aggravating to him because I was like in his face. Because I'm like, people think you're funny. Like he does like nothing, but they think he's funny because he's just weird. But I had to explain to him like what I was doing and why I was doing it. And it was really vulnerable for me because I felt, and I told him that too. I was like, I feel really dumb saying this, but like, how cool would it be like if it really like it's turned into this for other people? Like I see the potential. What if like one day I could stay home with our kids? Because my mom didn't pick us up till 7:30 at night. And it tore her up. It tore us up. We used to call her, cry for her. She didn't get to feed us. She didn't get to bathe us most of the times. And I don't want that life. And I commute and I come home at 6 p.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's what this is going to turn into when we have kids. And so when I said that, he was like, I mean, are you doing the things that it takes? So owning it. And like, even if you're a brand new coach, just take it serious, like with energy though, like not so much pressure serious, but like owning that, like you are doing something worthwhile and it's going to help. Yeah.
I love that. I love because I feel like that's hard sometimes. Or like
Yeah.
you were saying, it's like the pressure. But then when you kind of like tell, like even my mother-in-law, it's like I think she kind of thought I was just like taking videos of myself working out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I finally told her like I'm able to stay home because of my business. And she was like, wait, what? Like what? Like, and I just like explaining that part, it opened up of like, oh, I wasn't doing this like weird unconventional thing. It's like, no, I was actually bringing in
Right.
income for my family. But yeah,
Right.
it sometimes it is hard, and why it's hard with like the closer people, because like you're saying like, with Connor, you're like, I kind of feel dumb saying this, or it's like kind of weird, but I feel like getting it out there, then you kind of are surprised at maybe they just didn't know, how much
They
you.
just didn't know. Yeah. And now he like with the picture thing, that's what he didn't like. He was like, okay, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Now he's like, do you want to take a picture of this first? Like he understands in simple ways like that. And my brother was a big one too. My brother likes to pick with me. He's 5 years older than me. He's always picked with me. And he just kind of has like a rougher personality. So he was like, oh yeah. Like it was like he was making fun of me. And I had to tell him, like, I am not just working out. And he's like, oh, why do you keep posting that? Like it's aggravating. I'm like, to you, like, I'm sorry, just don't watch it, unfollow me. But I had to explain to him, and it took me a while. And I was like, listen, like, I have student loans to pay. Like, this is paying them. And he was like, for real? I'm like, yes. Like, I'm not just like posting. You know me, I'm shy. I'm not just posting this for like, I mean, it's fun, but I'm like, why would I? So anyway, just owning it and letting people know. And I wasn't mean about it. I was like, listen, dude, this is what that. But anyway, any questions? I hope that was helpful and what you were kind of looking for.
Thank you. I mean, I like how real you are and just honest. And I like that you are also like an introvert and really busy, and that you're, because I know that there are a lot of moms and there are a lot of people with kids, but I also think it's really incredible to show the other side of it. And that like I know Bridget prior to her having Whitney, um, she was like, no, when I have kids, like this is what I want. And so I always think it's
Yeah.
neat to like have that vision in your head of like, no, when I get to this point, or when my kids get to college, or, in 5 years, like I just like seeing that vision ahead, I feel like is really powerful too. And then writing it down.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very inspiring.
Any
Like
questions?
whenever you said you were staying home, I was like, oh my gosh, like goals.
Well, and it's weird. So I posted this the other day that, so when I stayed home with Haven, I, you know, after staying home with her for not even a year, I was already planning on going back, right? Like I knew I had to. I didn't really have an option. And the other day I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't even looked at jobs. Like that blows my mind because I didn't
Yeah.
even think about it. Like I didn't even think about it. Clayton didn't ask me about it because all I told him was that you need to give me a year to do this. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm able to even not even have that thought because of what
Yeah.
this is like what has happened in just 1 year of focus,
Right.
So
Yeah. Focus. And I like that you said that because I mean, you could, and it really is believing in yourself. Like no matter who or what, I like to see everyone's different story. And like you said, just like you own it and you focus on it.
yeah. And that Beachbody doesn't, there's no limit of success, one. So it doesn't matter what your coach is doing, but then also two, I always feel like, no, I don't want it to take this long, but I can still grow. I can still move forward. I can still be elite. I can still be a 7-star. Like all that can still happen, no,
Yeah.
regardless of where you're at right now.
Right. Yeah, Beachbody doesn't put us in a box really. Like,
Cool. It's
yeah.
a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Or comments? Or I'm so glad you got on with us. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, it was fun.
Okay. Y'all good? Yes? Any celebrations? Any wins?
Yeah, come on, like the small wins are big wins. You're welcome.
I passed up donuts. I don't even like donuts, to be honest with you. I don't like donuts. But there's this place in Round Rock, and I gave up sweets for the 30 days because it was like really bad. And my daughter and mother-in-law went and walked over there to the donut shop. They're like an orange glaze, like an orange cinnamon roll donut.
Oh,
It's heavenly, and I passed it up. I was so proud of myself. So that's my win for the week.
that is a win. I passed up some stuff at work today too. I was like, this doesn't even look that good, but I really want it. You said, okay. Do you invite to the business side often? How that was me. Okay. Well, I've invited to the business side kind of like without like from the get-go. They haven't signed up with anything yet a few times, and it makes me nervous. And I need to be brave and like lock arms with fear of it and just do it. And I need to talk about the business more. I'm just calling myself out. Like I need to do that more. Where I do invite to the business and talk about the business is with my challengers. Because I think it's easier for me personally that way because I started my journey and that's usually where I catch people and I try to catch people is within that 3 to 6 week period. I felt really good and like that's where the joy came. And most of my diamond coaches, it's been in that early on period of their journey of like going all in that they feel really good. I'm like, you are already doing the job of a coach. And that's why I say like, I was kind of not turning my back, but like not using my challenge group to help me be brave. And talk to them about the opportunity because I'm like, y'all are doing the exact same thing as me. Like you're working out, you're drinking the shake. Some of them are already like posting it on social media because you're proud of yourself, especially as a woman, like doing something for me. Okay, I'm going to show you, like, here's my calorie burn. Here's my tennis shoes. We're good. When they did that, I was like, okay, just tell them like you're literally doing the number one job of a coach. And that's how I've gotten, except for that one coach. And even her, like she was doing she was on her journey before and she followed me for a while and she was like, okay, I want to be in your groups, but also kind of interested in the coaching thing. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I need to be brave and invite to the coaching side. And I have before, and I've had people kind of have that conversation with me. And I think it's just in your confidence. Do you invite to the business like straight out the gates, Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Just because it's blessed my life in such like big ways. So I feel like that. I don't know. But I did hear. I've been on a couple calls where they say that if you're not attracting those coaches, I mean, everybody thinks of it differently. Like some people want straight coaches out of the gates, but I do like what you're saying in a sense of you're building that constant relationship of everyday conversation with challengers that if you're like have all of these people and then you're like, where are my coaches at? But you literally are like molding and guiding these women to already do what you're doing as a coach. I signed up out with a business opportunity. Like I came into it wanting to make an income. I came into it wanting, but I didn't really know. I was like, well, if this works, then I will do it.
Right.
And then it did. Like I was like 2 weeks in, I was like, I haven't wanted to take a nap once. Like I feel freaking amazing. I was so giddy. I wanted to share it with like the entire world and like got everybody that I knew to sign up. But that just goes back to that, like, you're so excited. You don't even know it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that too. And just being pumped about it. But I do invite to the business opportunity. But one person that does a really good job, I feel like, inviting to the business is Deidre. Like the way she tells her story. It's always like capturing, and then she twists it, at the end, and doesn't always put an invite at the end, but she makes it aware and owning that she works a business. For me, for a while,
like in her posting?
Huh?
Like in her posting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I gave myself a goal last month to talk about my coaching side 3 times a week in my stories. So like not just and talking about it could be like showing Team Celebration Day and Sister Empire and then like talking about what that is. Like just because you don't have 47 coaches underneath you doesn't mean that you can't still be sharing that piece. Or just because your income isn't doubled the way you want doesn't mean you can't be sharing your income
Or
doubled.
the way you think someone else, and that's the funny, not the funny thing, but like a lot of times you see somebody do something and like then you're surprised, like on the back end, like you're like, oh wait, like that's not what you meant. Like we just kind of make that assumption. I do post about coaching in my stories, and like again, sometimes I have to be more brave about that. Like we put like 5 times the amount to my car payment. We actually paid it off last Friday. Like Connor just went and wrote the check. And when the title comes in, I'm going to share about that. And I told Connor, I was like, you better make me share about it. And we're going to the beach, and we paid like however much extra for a balcony. And I know that's because of Beachbody. And so I need to be brave and I need to share it because like you said, it's blessed my life. So I do share and invite to it that way. I don't necessarily, like I have sent invites like, hey, I think that you'd be great at this. Those specific ones, I have done that before. But as far as you said, like posting in your stories, and you're right, Deidre does a great job of it. Like I actually have a screenshot of her talking about her washing machine one time. And I was like, that was just awesome. Like I would sign up with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it is, you have to sprinkle it in early on too. Like, you know, like coaching business paid for my shakes this month, like, you know, whatever it is, like
And like you were saying earlier, like getting excited is contagious. So it doesn't matter if you're like having fear doing it, but pushing past that and like nobody has to know that you're like scared shitless, right? But
actually makes it better because you're like, oh God, like
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and also I don't necessarily get tons of traction or people saying like, yes, I want to do the coaching side, because I feel like that takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage, unless they just know that this is a business opportunity that they want to take in. But I will say that there are certain people that I feel it in my gut that they should be coaching, and so I will reach out like, I think you would be amazing at this. Because a lot of times I feel like if we don't have that confidence to share with other people, then they will not have that confidence for themselves, especially if they're brand new at it, you know? But
Yeah, like, I think if Crystal wouldn't have asked me to coach her, kind of, I didn't say she pushed me, but like she just like was clapping behind, like literally patting me on the back because she was like, "Oh my God, you're excited! Like just share it." Yeah. If she wouldn't have given me that little boost, I would have probably never done it. Or if she wouldn't have said like, "You can get people started," I'd probably just been like, "Thanks, girl." Like that's it. So that people do need that like little extra, like, "Oh, really? You think that about me?"
yeah.
And then your challengers are always watching too. Like when I post about coaching, sometimes like I'm like have someone in mind in my challenge group that I'm like, had this conversation. So I'm going to talk about it in my stories because they're watching you there. Like I inspire a lot of my challenge group with my
So
stories.
how do you talk about it inside your challenge group? Because I don't really do that. But
So
I like that.
whenever Crystal and I ran groups together, this was a long time ago. We were like, okay, like we've got to do something different. Let's talk about coaching in our challenge group. And we were kind of scared because we didn't want them to feel like we were pushing them, which was just dumb because like, why are we holding that out on them? But we just went live and we're like, this is what we do as coaches, and this is why we like it. And like, so don't be afraid to reach out. And then I actually had one of my girls, Allie, do it too. And so we just started talking about the coaching opportunity. Not necessarily, I have offered like a separate call before and I've had like a couple people get on, but we just started sharing like, I just want like, just like this, like, this is why I started coaching. This is what we do as a coach. Like, please let us know if like you're interested. And I think it helps me to be brave talking about it everywhere, but that's just like that. And then even when I go live, I'm famous for going live randomly, especially after a cardio workout, because I just feel really good. And they know that, like they know if it's cardio day, I'm like coming at y'all. And I will say like sprinkle in like coaching, like y'all did not want to show up today. If it wouldn't be for coaching, I wouldn't have showed up. I promise you it's the best accountability ever. And I really mean that, but I sprinkle that in there. And if I have a girl who's like, I've been killing it, but I feel kind of like unmotivated lately. I'm like, girl, you need to coach. Like, come on, coach with me. And they don't always do it, but the bug is in their ear. So that's how I use it. And I need to do that more. But back in the beginning, it was just like us going in there shaking. Like, this is what we do as coaches. And like, I don't want you to ever feel like you can't do it too, because, and we said how it's blessed us and changed us and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because your safe space. Those people trust you already.
Yeah. I like that. And like you were saying, it's practice, you know, you get
It's practice.
all the scaries in there.
Yeah.
You're like, you're already in. So, you know.
Yeah, you're already in. Like, and I just call myself out. I'm like, you'll know that I'm just all over the place. So it's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, let me take a picture real quick. My phone this time. I probably have like cave in fingerprints on this.
I know. I always have to clean mine off too.
I always think like, we was like on a call and Deidre was like, guys, clean your camera.
I remember that. I forget what that was for. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I don't want to get the toilet paper in the background. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. That was amazing.
You're welcome.